All right, so I'm assuming you read through these questions beforehand, so you kind of have an idea of what's to come.
Yeah, and nothing seemed too egregious. And as with anything, I can always try to dance around something or defer. But
Now you're with Alpha, and Alpha is from what I understand, my research here, it was a Chinese company more or less based out of China that's kind of branched itself into the United States and has been working on developing new intellectual properties and so forth. Is that an accurate assessment of what that company is right now?
yeah, the opportunity that got put in front of me, and again, at a time when I loved my job, I saw a future for myself there. I was told, again, when you're thinking about getting a new job and you're kind of keeping your cards close to the vest, so to speak, you get to take a lay of the land and figure out what's going on. And I was told maybe a month before the opportunity popped up, I was told that, we do things on a fiscal year basis here at Bandai. So just know that, you're earmarked. We're going to promote you to vice president of marketing. You're doing a great job. Obviously the work you do with the fans and the work you do with the retail buyers is all meaningful. And we want to make sure we acknowledge that, which I was happy to hear. I was like, great. This is the perfect logical progression for my personal investment in what I do here and investment, in trying to make Bandai a great company. So that was great. I had that in front of me, and still, at the end of the day, the opportunity that got put in front of me by, again, one of my heroes, Brian, who hired me at Bandai in the first place. Mm-hmm. When he left Bandai, he joined a company called, as you say, Alpha. Mm-hmm. Alpha is the number one animation company and the number one toy company in all of China.
Yeah. And
they have they have the highest market cap. They have the highest retail penetration. They have a Jaja TV, which reaches 550 million homes in China. So it's a big player. And at one point, they started trading outside of China through like distributors and through they got some product into Europe here and there and some product into Latin America, and that was good for them. It was expansion. It was the next phase for the company after they basically dominated their own country, and they wanted to build. What does phase two of the company look like?
Yeah.
And they realized pretty quickly that you can do that through distributors, and you can do that through like trying to, handshake deals and getting to know different territories and different countries and do okay. Or what really is the tipping point is, do you invest in yourself and in your business to really do that in a much bigger way? So what Alpha China decided to do was, in order to get the Western market and make a true big opportunity there to show what they can do and to show what their great entertainment and toy capabilities are, rather than going through the making distributor relationships here and there through different territories, they decided to open up a headquarters outside of China that would be their global hub for basically everywhere but Asia.
Okay.
So they opened up first a little satellite office in Massachusetts, and then pulled the trigger on the true big experiment, which was opening up the LA office here. LA we say, but it's really El Segundo.
Yeah.
To be the Western global hub for marketing, IP development, licensing, and product design. So when you have a company that's got that kind of power, cash, market cap, and vision for itself, because they didn't just luck into this. They had a vision for themselves, and they created it by being content creators, IP creators, and a toy company. They went big, and they made that next big leap, and it was really that's what took my notice, and it's what took Brian's notice too. That's what he dove into it. He assessed it for a couple months. He was the first official marketing hire out here, and he, on his way out the door at Bandai, he says, "I'm calling you. It might be in 2 weeks. It might be in 6 weeks. It might be in 6 months." He says, "I'm taking a chance on myself here, but I want to make sure that this is what I think it is before I bring, who I consider to be, my partner in all this."
Yeah.
So that to me, instantly, it's like, wow, a guy I've supported and really become close to as a friend and a coworker. He was my boss. I love the guy. My job was to make him and Power Rangers look awesome. And he had that kind of vote of confidence in me, even walking out the door saying, "I'm coming back for you." So half my brain's like, that feels wonderful. And even if it doesn't happen, that he says that and thinks that of me made me feel great. And if it does happen, I got to take that seriously, because what he's leaving this opportunity for sounds awesome. So
yeah.
Sure enough, that was the guy made it perfect. He made his last week of work at Bandai Comic-Con weekend in San Diego. So he got to do very little work and got to drink and have fun with all of his friends and us.
I actually remember that, because if it's the one I'm thinking of, I want to say it was 2015. Does that sound right?
This was 2016.
It was 2016?
Yeah.
I want to say I saw him, not to talk about Brian too much, but if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I was out with another buddy of mine in the toy industry at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I literally ran into Brian like walking down like 8th Street or something like that at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, they had some good raging nights. The Japanese teammates were sad to see him go, so they made sure that he knew it.
I was just laughing because I saw him the next day, and I'm like, "You look exactly how I figured you would look." He's like, "So do you."
Yeah, yeah. So we went out on a high note, and I got the tap on the shoulder. I want to say, I think it was October or late September. And he basically, he said by that time he had gone to China twice. So it wasn't even like he just was drinking Kool-Aid. They literally got him to work. He had been to China and back twice, and it gave him a really good sense of the lay of the land here, and it's just a huge opportunity. And he basically pitched it to me like this. He's like, look, do you want to take everything you've ever done in your career and do it and act like owner-operators for what the company is trusting to be, the Western hub for its global business? And they're hiring people who understand content. They're hiring people who have a passion for toys and have had proven success. And, and should you accept the opportunity, you're my first hire.
Yeah.
And that again, a wonderful feeling. And one of the things where you figure, okay, I've worked, whether I knew it or not, all roads led to this. So what do I want to do? And, it was a very tough decision, even with that kind of big opportunity, because I loved what I was doing. I loved who I was doing it with for the most part. And it doesn't necessarily mean, specific people in the office or at Saban's office. It literally meant putting smiles on kids' faces the first time they ever saw and played with Power Rangers, and putting a smile on the fans' faces every time we heard them, listened to them, and put out something that they wanted, asked for, or in some cases didn't know or expect and was just as gratified and excited about. And that's a hard thing to leave when you love what you do and you want to do more of it. So it was a tough decision, but a great one. And basically, so now I'm senior director of marketing for all the boys stuff. The way we've grown our vision here just in the past, I guess I've been here, I started the first week of November, I guess, of 16. So I'm here just almost a year and a half. We've done just some huge, tremendous things because they've given us the confidence and the resources to do it. So as everyone got to see in New York, we went and proved ourselves and secured a global master partnership with Nickelodeon's crown jewel property, SpongeBob SquarePants. And that was a huge point of pride to do that for both the company and even for myself, knowing that SpongeBob gave me my first job in the toy business. Yeah. So I made sure I went in there with my head straight and my heart big.
Yeah.
And we also got the master global rights for Massive Monster Mayhem, which is on Nicktoons, so it's still Nickelodeon related, but is produced by 789, great, wonderful creative outfit here in LA, and distributed and owned by DHX. So for a team that had nothing, we literally had 3 designers, and I became the second marketing person. We worked really hard together in a short amount of time. We even signed a 3rd license in that time that I still can't announce because we're still kind of waiting for the time to do that right and roll it out. But to put it as directly as I can, it's another multi-billion-dollar globally known licensed household name. And that's the opportunity I essentially left to join here for. It's that level of making these kinds of opportunities and deals possible, and to make awesome content and awesome product.
That just the way you phrase it and the way you say it, it's just like, I don't know. And maybe that's, I think a lot of people maybe don't understand is being in the toy industry, from the outside looking in, being a fan of like Power Rangers or like Transformers when I was a kid and so forth. When you look from the outside in, you're like, wow, that has to be a dream to work for that. Like, how could you ever leave that? At the same time, when you're on the inside looking out, your dream is and your passion is usually for almost everyone I talk to that's in the toy industry, whether it's in design or it's in marketing or it's in, IP, it's about creation. It's about creating content and taking an idea and somehow spinning it into real life. And it kind of sounds like basically the opportunity you got was to basically work for a giant corporation that was willing to take risks and take chances to take some great ideas and turn them into reality, as well as, landing these master toy license deals.
It was really, and thank you, you kind of nailed it perfectly. So that was well said. But, at the end of the day too, the funny thing is it has all the energy and verve and excitement of a startup company, but with the backing of people who have money and want to spend it wisely. So, that's, it's a different leap than some of my friends have made over the years who literally like went out and fundraised and, signed deals to get funding and put their own money into it to start literally their own toy companies.
Yeah.
So make no mistake, we didn't start our own toy company, but we do have that owner operator mentality and that passion. And it's honestly not dissimilar to what we were doing within the halls of Bandai. And every time we did a pitch meeting or line review meeting within the halls of Saban, that's thankfully what you guys have always said over the years is that's kind of what showed. And even more starkly since, me and Breen and even Nicole aren't there anymore, what no one saw again after a certain day, after we had all left.
You can almost put a check on the calendar of what day that was. I'm not trying to be negative or anything like that. I don't have any kind of personal relationship with anyone at Bandai currently. It's just one of those things I never got a chance to talk to them or really get to meet any of them.
But that says something right there. That's very telling right there.
Yeah, it was always booth assistants, local kids they hired at San Diego or wherever that were running their booths, and they were either be inside or out on the break or doing something. So, I knew a couple by name towards the end of it, but it was always by association, and then finally like, oh, you're so-and-so, nice to meet you. Oh, you're so-and-so, nice to meet you.